Manchester United 3, Luton 0, a clean sheet, goals for 2 of the Avengers, and in the end, a comfortable victory for Ollie and his boys. It did look difficult. That first half, there is no doubt, Luton were in the game. Man United really struggled to find consistency out there. That cannot be denied in any way, shape, or form. As the game went on, as Man United became settled, you saw a much better display. I felt that in the first half, far too many mistakes from Maguire, from Williams, from Fred, from somebody else, Jesse Lingard, giving the ball away in really simple areas. And as the game progressed, that got better. I thought man like Fred, I thought Matic did very, very well in those central areas, considering it was their first game back. I thought Lingard didn't do himself too bad. Wan-Bissaka grew into the game. Eric Bailly, let me just say, Eric Bailly, very, very good display in that second half. And there were a few times where he used his pace to cover some of the holes for Man United, demonstrating how important that is. But I think the biggest message to come out of this game is still the lack of depth and strength in depth that Manchester United have. When 3 of the Avengers came on late on in the football match, you saw the tide turn. Luton are in very good form so far this season. I think 4 wins out of 4. This is their 5th game, so they're fitter than Manchester United. Those boys came on. We could have scored 5-6 goals in that last 15-minute period. Man United need to go out as a club, as a board, and buy a better quality for Ollie in that squad, because Lingard, Mata, even a man like Uncle Iggy, who I love and respect, just isn't of the standard if we get an injury or two to really see us through in the Premier League. But enough to get past Luton tonight. A comfortable victory in there again. In the end, a goal for Marcus Rashford. So proud of Sir Marcus Rashford tonight. And of course, Greenwood picking up a goal that's almost becoming trademark for him. They get themselves off the mark early in the season, which I think is very, very important for them as well. Really excited to see how those young boys progress throughout the course of this season. But do me a big, big favor. We're here for the next 45 minutes or so. Hit the like button right now. Hit that damn thing. Ding, 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 ding. Hit the share button as well. Very, very important to the Football Terrace that you get that done. I want to know your thoughts and feelings on today's game. No one's calling it vintage. Nobody's calling it amazing. But to score 3, keep a clean sheet, to grow into the game, lots of fitness there. Rashford scoring, Greenwood scoring, Maguire, Bay looking solid as a partnership. Who knows? Oh, and how can I forget the save from Henderson? Jeez, that save. See, the first save he's made as a United goalkeeper, and it's a game-changing save. We know how special that boy is. We know how special he is indeed. But I want your views. I want your opinions. The link is in the description below to call in. We're going to jump to that in just a few moments' time and see what everybody else has to say. But hit the like button, share button, become a member, all that jazz. Here we go. One United Nation, welcome to the Football Terrace. What do you make of that performance tonight from Manchester United? Give me your thoughts, mate. Oh, is he back? Can you speak?
Hello? Yeah, can you hear me, Terry?
Perfect. Give me your thoughts on Man United.
I was saying, it's a good performance for Manchester United. Get some minutes into the tank. As Ole said, the team, some players, they've only been with the team for like a week. Pogba contracted the virus. Wan-Bissaka was in quarantine. So for a lot of the players, man, I think it's good minutes for them. You win 3-0. Marcus Rashford hitting the mark from early in the season, giving some confidence heading into the Brighton game. Mason Greenwood, typical as I call him, Greenwood, always finding the back of the net. Also good for him to score early as well. Paul Pogba getting rest, Anthony Martial. So, excellent performance from Manchester United. Periods in the game, it was kind of sloppy here and there. But if you look at it, the board has to back Ole, because as you can see, when we start our second string players, they struggle against teams like Luton. And which, in fact, if you look at the history of Manchester United and quality players that we've had in the past, we shouldn't be struggling against Luton. We should be dispatching them. But, good win heading into the weekend, and, good confidence for the boys.
Mate, listen, really appreciate that. Thank you for coming and having your say. Yeah. Really appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. Next up on the show, we have got Abdul. Abdul, tell me about... Well, he threw himself out. We'll go to Ayab. Ayab, I think. Oh, he just got some dinner on the floor. He looks not ready.
I broke some shit, I think.
Lovely. Give me your thoughts on Man United's performance.
Yeah, it was a good performance, to be honest. Just normal, nothing exciting, but nothing too much bad. It's just like friendly match, basically.
Yes. Did anything impress you about tonight's game? Give me your thoughts.
I thought Lingard was really good, to be honest. Like he wasn't he had a lot of criticism lately, but he was so good making runs. But how many times what's his name? Van de Beek find area space in the box? Every time it seems like he's got a space in it. I've never seen anything like that before.
I think what's really interesting with Van der Beek, we did a video that went viral when he signed all about that, is he runs into the box, and he was unlucky not to score tonight in that second half. There's a cross from AWB, defender got a block on it, and he was there to pick up the scraps. And for me, that's what he's going to do a lot this season.
Yeah,
when
spaces.
He's so different to our other attacking midfield players. He's almost like a secondary striker, and he's going to pick up a lot of loose balls. He's very comfortable in possession. I thought we had a decent display tonight, finding his feet in England. It's always difficult to go to these lower level teams, but I thought we did really well. What did you make of?
I just want to say about one point about the general Man United. It's like, and if you think like we're not buying anyone, we're not transferring really bad, and then do you think these guys, likes of Rashford, Greenwood, Martial, are going to wait Man United to build again? Take another 7 years to build up.
No, it's not going to take 7 years.
What I'm saying. No, I'm saying is that I believe in Ole, everything, but it's like I don't trust this sport anymore. It's like
I disagree with you. I think we have an excellent squad that just needs more time to gel, and we need to add more players to it. But bro, I appreciate you coming on, having your say. Thank you very, very much. Next up on the show, we have Hussein. Hussein, welcome back. Looks like you're a Bayern Munich fan. Give me your thoughts on Manchester United beating Luton 3-0 tonight.
So I think overall the performance was all right. United did have a lot of shots on target. I just think they were unlucky to not be able to put them in. And I think, first of all, I really liked the save that Dean Henderson made. I think it's really showing the potential he has as a United goalkeeper, to challenge De Gea and possibly take his spot. If he keeps up that good form, he will definitely be getting a start in the Prem for the team. And I also think for Rashford, I'm happy he scored because a lot of people were criticizing him recently, especially in the game against Palace and like Copenhagen as well. They're saying, oh, what's he doing? His form has been bad. I hope people realize that the injuries kind of held him back. But to get a goal today, I think it's going to help him with his confidence. And if the Telles deal goes through, I think him coming in as well is going to make him an even better player. So I'm just hoping things go well with the transfer situation for United and for Rashford as well.
Absolutely. I thought, again, I know it's Luton and people will say it's a championship side, but you just saw the class when the likes of Rashford and Greenwood and Bruno came on. They all could have got goals. And that's why we just need a slightly stronger bench, because I thought Mata played well today and Lingard had his moments. They're just not of the level. One of them staying and being part of this squad with the Sanchos and the Alex Telleses of this world joining is fine. But when you have to rotate, and by the way, there's going to be a lot of rotation. We play Saturday, then there's League Cup again. There's almost 2 games per week every week up until Christmas. There's going to be a lot of rotation for teams. It will be criminal for us to end the transfer window without at least 2 more bodies. But bro, Hussein, I appreciate you coming on, my friend, having your say. Thank you very, very much indeed. Next up, we've got Ray Q. Ray Q's coming on the line with us now. Ray Q, what did you make of Man United's bounce back performance tonight? 3 goals, clean sheet. Great save from Henderson. Van der Beek looking dangerous. Give me your opinions, bro.
I think this is what we needed. I think we needed more game time. We didn't have a good preseason at all. So I think the Crystal Palace game was really bad. After that game, I was mad. But I think we need games like these, more games. They need to get practice in. Van der Beek needs to get accustomed. I would like to see Van der Beek play next to Pogba, next to Bruno, but at their top level. I think that midfield between those 3, I think it's the best in the whole Premier League, exception of Liverpool, I think, when Thiago came in. But even though Thiago's not going to play the whole season, every game, they're going to play Thiago in certain games and important games. While we could play if we wanted to with no injuries, that midfield with Bruno and Pogba and Van der Beek. I think we need to get
Yeah, and it really, really could work beautifully well. And I thought what did you make of Van der Beek and the way he gets himself in and around the box, almost like he's different from Bruno that kind of plays on the edge of the box. He's very much he makes those late runs into the box. He's there to pick up scraps. Do you like that element of his game?
Yeah, I love the way. There's difference. Pogba is more like a calm player where he can put passes in certain games, and Bruno is that guy you need in the box to do the connections. But we needed someone with energy, someone that would come in and would play with courage, someone that had it. And when I heard Van de Beek was going to Real Madrid, I was like, no, he should come to United. And when I heard the rumor that he might come to United, I was like, is this going to be another rumor? Is this going to be another Neymar? Is this going to be another rumor that he's going to come and he ends up going to another club? And when he came in, I was happy because I thought, okay, now we have a title Champions League midfield.
I hear that, bro. Listen, Ray, appreciate your comments as ever. Thank you very much for coming on, my friend. Thank you. We're going to throw a few extra panelists in now. We've got Man Like KJ. We've got Gabrielle. We have got Cameron. I forgot your name for a second there. I shouldn't. I did. Boys, we'll start off with Gabrielle. What did you make of Man United's performance tonight?
It was all right. I guess it was just about, as the other, I don't know who said it before, but about putting, just running a bit for their legs and having energy in the tank. And I think for most of those players, it was their first game. So you could see that they were a bit sloppy in the first half, but then in the second half, I just felt we were more comfortable in possession, which is completely normal. I just want to touch quickly on a few things. First of all, I'm going to start with the goalkeeper. First of all, I think the best attribute a goalkeeper can have is to be able to make a very good save when he has nothing to do all game. That's the trait of a top goalkeeper. And I'll tell you, I have a theory about the goalkeeper situation, but I think Solskjaer, he's already made his mind up. I think he'll sell De Gea next summer. That's my theory, because I think he wants to slowly but surely give Henderson the number one spot. Then I want to touch on the centre-back situation, because I think you need a quick centre-back next to Maguire to mask his flaws, because his flaws is that he's slow and not very mobile. So when there's a counter-attack, he gets exposed. But when you have a quick centre-back next to him, either Mengi or Bailly or Twansebi or whatever, then our defence looks one tad better. Then I just want to say a quick a few words on Rashford. I think the finish was good. That's going to give him confidence. And Mason Greenwood, I mean, he has two goal contributions, 1 goal and an assist in 12 minutes. The guy is just sensational. I mean, I don't know what to say.
I hear that. And just on Van der Beek, I just want to touch on him as well, just looking at the stat, not to go too far off point. Igalo tonight had 3 touches of the ball in the Luton box. In the same amount of time on the football pitch, Van der Beek had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as an example. And I didn't actually think Igalo got the level of service that a player like him needs tonight. If I'm being honest, there wasn't really very good crosses coming into the box. So felt a bit sorry for him in that regard. But that just showed Van der Beek as an attacking midfielder. He's all about getting in and around that box. And Man United need more bodies. It's one thing I love when you watch City and Liverpool play, when they go forward, their players get into the box and it creates havoc for defenders. It pulls people in and out of position. And then you've got a bit of a finisher on your hands as well. KJ, we spoke before the game and we wanted to see a performance. I'd probably agree with each other. We might have saw each other's tweets. First half was sluggish, but we seemed to get better as the game went on and we ended very, very strongly. What'd you make of the overall performance, mate?
I personally wasn't too impressed with the whole game. The first half, Luton were outplaying us. Their ball retention, the way that they got from back to front quickly, I was kind of like, what's going on? And then the second half, we finally started to kick in the gear, and I was like, right, cool. Ollie, make some changes now to assert our dominance. I think Greenwood should have come on a lot earlier for Igalo, because when we're in full flow, a player like Igalo, it hinders us because his touch is heavy. Like, it doesn't stick to him. He's turning slow and he's not as agile. And his best attributes are within the box and basically within the box only. Their centre backs weren't really troubling him to that. So I thought, Mason Greenwood, I think in a striker position would have been excellent today. earlier on. I think he's ready to be a backup striker if needed. But overall, we got the 3 points. We grew into the game, and hopefully we can use this to just get some little bit of momentum for Saturday and move forward.
Yeah, I agree with your opinions there. I think I was impressed with how we grew into the game. The first half, I think I tweeted at halftime that barring
Van der Beek
and Lingard, yeah.
I thought halftime the rest of them could do one. I saw so many mistakes in people, and that was all of them. And this is it's how I assess football as a fan. Fred in the first half made 3 or 4 good interceptions, made some good tackles, he made some good passes, but then there were some basic things that he did that were wrong. Like, well, those basic mistakes outweigh all the other little basic things you did right because they were so important. And that was everyone. Lingard, bad passing. Maguire made a couple of mistakes. I do keep forgetting that we're very early on in the season, and it's still going to take time. And, we made a lot of changes tonight, just as Luton Town did, there's no doubt. But I think as you see Man United in another 2 or 3 weeks, we will be a better team. And what was encouraging was the difference, the front three that came on when we made those substitutions which I think should hammer home, if it hasn't done so already, to Matt Judge, who's standing in that stadium tonight. If you get us 2 more players in of Bruno, Rashford, Greenwood level, and pack out our squad, we can do something this season. Cameron, of course, it's a afternoon game for you over there in very sunny Canada. What did you make of the performance? We know it was Luton, but it was important to bounce back after a humbling open day defeat. Give me your opinions, mate.
So we know it was Luton, and we know a lot of people out there are going to be saying like, "Oh, well, if we had ended 1-0 or whatnot, people would be like, oh, look what they couldn't do to Luton." So let's just talk about it as what it is. It was, in my mind, the friendly we needed. It was we need to get our legs back. The first half, I saw half of it, had a meeting because it is daytime for me. I got work. But then I caught it right after the second half, and then you kind of started seeing the players grow into the game a bit. With the players that really stood out for me, and like we talked about a bunch of Van de Beek for me, is we have a problem with getting players in the box. We really do. And Van de Beek and Bruno have this one move. They both do it. Bruno does it from outside the box. Van de Beek does it inside the box, where they touch the ball, lay off, and spin. And they just turn off. It's a really dope turn they do, and it's like a dive, and it puts them in the perfect position to receive the ball back. And Van de Beek's been doing that really quickly already. Bruno does it all the time. You saw Jesse try it, didn't come off as well. And then another thing that with the Greenwood situation, he can't sit anymore. We're done sitting Greenwood. I think I get it. He's 19, whatever. The guy's a man now. We have to ride him until we get reinforcements, and our second team is just not good enough. And I agree with KJ. Like this game should be a game where Greenwood is the backup and not a Gollum. This should be a game where it's not Greenwood playing out of position. Like Greenwood eventually is going to be a center forward playing with Martial. They're going to go back and forth, and that's going to be kind of what I want to see. I keep saying we need to go get another striker. Sure, okay, whatever. But if you're going to go get a Moussa Dembele, Greenwood, and Martial, you're crowded. If you go get Sancho, now you have the 4 players that can just move around. And that's what we need. Like we got to stop messing around in the transfer window now and look at the fact that once those guys came on, Aaron actually made a tweet and he was like, "Oh, this is negative, but it's Luton and we're only up 1." And I go, well, and I said it right as I said it, we scored the second goal too. I'm like, well, if you see the difference, as soon as Bruno, Rashford, and Greenwood came on, it was like we could have scored 6. And I'm glad we didn't start.
And what happens is in those situations is Igalo is made to look worse because everyone around him, as an example, all of them look worse because it's 4 or 5 of a lower stat, and you could see Van de Beek stood out. Like
he was.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It was like I'll give you an example. Like white Converse trainers. When you can tell a brand new pair versus people that have had them 2 or 3 years. It's like a new pair of trainers that stood out amongst the ones that weren't good enough anymore. And I think I would have loved to have seen Van de Beek stay on, but of course you're going to make 3 substitutions now. As an example.
One thing I wanted to bring up too, sorry, and we talked about it on the defensive partnership part. So there's a play in the game where I kind of agree with Danny when he says he can't stand when he sees Maguire pass the midfield. But today he marauded and he was being chased down by somebody, and it was like the 70th minute. And it was a good, like, he was taking the ball up. It's what you expect from a ball playing center back. But he can't do that if we're playing City. He can't do that against any, because as soon as you lose the ball or if anything happens here, you don't have a center back who can track back or who you can even trust in one-on-one situations. We absolutely need a center back that we can trust in 1v1 situations. That's
you don't trust everybody. You don't trust everybody in 1v1 situations.
No, I do. I trust Eric Bailly in 1v1 situations. I don't trust Eric Bailly to make it through a season. So that's the problem.
But let's just wait and see what the situation is with Axel Tuanzebe, because I personally I rate him up very highly, but he can't stay fit. But I think if he stays fit, you'll prove a lot of people wrong, because I think he's a top defender.
Right here, let's go to a few of the new people about it. We've got Anton with us. Anton, give us your thoughts on that game, mate.
You know what, right? And you all have some amazing thoughts, right? And I watch United all the time. And I think we just need to go back to basics, you know. If we look at a normal basic football game, it's about pass and move. It is the most fundamental. When you're playing on Sunday football and I've got to rush after, my mum picks me up, they're like, pass, and move. You know why Van der Beek stands out in every single game he's played so far? Because he gets the ball and moves. Did anybody of you see a 1-2 in that game? A 1-2?
No. And
no, it was very.
I saw one. It was Greenwood and Lingard at the end there.
It wasn't a 1-2. It was a 1-1 because it just passed each other.
Say that someone tweeted. I can't remember who it was, and I responded to them because I can't see a system here. And I'm watching it. I can see a system, but the application isn't there because
they're the right players.
And for me, if anybody has, as much as you may not think that Ollie. We know he isn't Guardiola. We know that his coaching staff are not the greatest things since sliced bread, but they're at least they're coaching enough for players to be able to do a 1-2. Does that make sense? But it's a lack of quality in players and in confidence. And when you have them all on the pitch at the same time, which is going to be necessary with the volume of games that are now going to be compact. And listen, let's not sleep past football being suspended for a few weeks coming up at some point soon. We feel like the country's going that way again, and you might get even more games turned into a short period of time. It's a bit of a concern.
But Terry, let me challenge you one thing though, man.
Yeah, go on.
I respect you so much, right? If you say it's they're getting the right coaching, I get that. But when every single player played bad the last game, who do you look at? Because we know we've got some world-class players there. If they're all playing bad, if it's a couple of players, you're like, okay, some of them are off their game, what's going on? But if it's the whole team, if I work in sales, right? I work at Spotify in sales, and it's all about getting people to basically work in book campaigns and so forth. If we don't hit our targets and we're not performing, who do you look at? You look at the leader. For me, right, I look at that team and we've got players. We've got Pogba, we've got Fernandes, we've got ballers. Every one of their country, they play amazing. If they go to a different team, I tell you right now, if Fernandes went to Man City or Liverpool, it'll be a baller, right? If Jesse Lingard goes to a football playing team, like even Southampton back in the day of Poch, he'll be a baller. What I'm not seeing, and I think Ollie's, trust me, he'll be passing and moving. It's the base of football, right? I just think that Ollie, as much as he's a good coach, and he's bringing the feeling back, he's getting rid of the dead wood, he's not a passing, aggressive, possessive football coach, and we don't know who we are anymore. Are we a counter-attacking team? You know, back in the when Ollie first came, all we were was a counter-attacking team. That's gone now. What are we now? Are we a passing football team?
What Ollie likes to do, and if you notice how we play, we like to win the ball while the other team's in transition, and then play the quick trigger passes into the final third, quick 1-2s, and then play, and that's how we get a lot of our goals. What the issue comes in with sometimes is if our midfield press is bypassed, that's why it looks so open, because we like to take the ball in that midfield transition area. So that's
Joe, Anton, I don't disagree with some of the things you said. In terms of the sales, I'm in sales as well. I look at it this way. If you have a bad week, it's individual. If you have a bad year, that's when I think and it becomes a bad week after bad week after bad week. Yeah. I think with Man United, give it another couple of weeks and you'll see much better football. I mean, by the way, this is the same manager who in our run from January to the end of the season, just after lockdown, you know, we broke a Premier League record by winning 3 games on the bounce. So it is there. I think I really do think what the biggest issue at Man United is the burden of pressure that is on these players. And I'm not talking about just the expectation to win in that shirt. It's when you look at the toxicity now within the Man United fan base and the way players are spoken about. I mean, we announced our squad today and social media is blowing up. Why are we playing 2 CDMs? Why not this player? Why not that player? I can't believe Willian just playing crap. And I'm thinking, slow that for me. Players are aware of this. I mean,
they read it all the time.
You know, William's aware of it because he put a picture of himself, dressed up. I don't think particularly good. I wouldn't dress like that, but like dressed up in a private jet going on holiday. He got so much abuse he deleted it. Of course, he knows what people are saying about him. If you're really a Man United fan and your abuse of your own players is creating mental instability for them, how can you? You're not a fan. You need to get behind them a bit more. So I don't disagree with your points around the coaching, but I do think that there's an element where the fans have just got to get behind their players a little bit more. I remember watching Liverpool fans attack a Liverpool fan channel because they gave a player rating to a young kid that had a bad game that was too low. I think they gave him a 3 or 4, and they were like, "He's a young kid, he needs more support." That fan channel deleted the video, redid it, and gave the guy a high number. Now that's maybe a bit too far, but it's them saying get behind him. They'll start an agenda against him. And I think we need to adopt a little bit more of that in the Man United. I'm thinking United fans start going, why is everyone happy? It was only a 3-0 victory. I'm like, yeah, and if we won 1-0, you'd be moaning. But we win 3-0 and you tell everyone to calm down. You can't have it both ways.
But be consistent, yeah.
Samuel, what you saying, bro? You're an Arsenal fan. I've had no rival chat yet. What you saying about the performance?
United got the job done today, as far as I'm concerned. They did what they had to do. But you know what, Man United are Make-A-Wish FC with Odi Nagalo, yeah? Just because this guy had United shirts as a kid, this is the only reason he's at Man United. Make-A-Wish FC. It's my dream to play for Man. That's the only reason he's starting.
Samuel, let me ask you this question. Samuel, whose Twitter account? Whose Twitter account?
From, bro.
Yeah, you think someone else tweeted. I know you, bro. I'm
saying, Sam, that's the funniest thing you've ever said.
Man comes on here bantering me. He's got an ironing board behind him. You know what I'm saying, bro? You know what I mean? Sort yourself out, brother. Your backdrop there, an iron, bro. Do you know what I mean?
I wanted to touch on what Anton said about the way we play. Because what I've noticed, and I think Danny's been hammering it home, and we talked about that direct play or whatnot. And people talk about we only score from penalties. We only score. And nobody ever factors in that our tactics get us penalties. Like nobody ever factors in that quick play and the fact that we have guys with feet and techers like Martial and Rashford who 1 second the ball, if you move it in quick to their feet and they move to do the quick turn and they're looking for those quick passes, that's how penalties happen. Because when you make those moves in the box, you leave defenders for dead. And we actually have the guys to do that in the box. We have the talent. Like if you look at the feet on Greenwood, Martial, Rashford, those guys have techers. You can compare them to basically anybody in the world. And that's why we're getting penalties with those players. And we play quickly within the box. We don't do the long possession play. That's not our style at all. We don't pass it around and wait for openings. Everything's direct with Ollie. And you can tell that kind of comes from him being a striker and him just being like, get it over with. Like we don't need to pass the ball around and play around. We're not a tick-tack team. The way I look at our identity is just direct. We are very direct. And when we counterattack, it looks like we're a counterattacking team sometimes. It's because we're playing that same direct style. It's just we're being pinned back by better teams.
Which is true, but the only issue is we see it a lot is what happens is if we don't counter or we don't have our direct play quick enough, which we've seen in the last 2 games, the 2 banks of 4 merging almost into one massive row across the box. And what happens is you can't do the direct football as quickly as you want to in those situations. So you just see us recycle the ball across the final third, just like that. And then there's no cutting edge at the moment. So we need I feel like we need to adapt a little bit of the tiki-taka, a little bit more of the possession, so that we can be more effective when that happens in those situations.
Yeah. And that's the hope where you hope that a player like Telles, Sancho, and then Van de Beek will come in and find those times to attack. You know what I mean? Like they'll find those creases. They'll pick out those passes that we're not seeing now from the players. Where when they get stuck, you need somebody with a little bit more. And even though we now have Bruno, we now have Pogba, we're getting more creative players. You still need more. Like you look at the best players in England right now, or in the world. Realistically, those guys have about 7 to 8 creators.
Guys, I want to go to this. This is a video. Some fans supposedly shouting at Matt Judge outside the stadium earlier. I want to hear and see what was said.
Kids.
So, you know what? I'm laughing, and then it starts getting abusive. I'm not even going to listen to the rest of it. Do you see what I mean? I'm not a fan of Matt Judge, but you see how it goes from Sancho to them swearing at him. Like, how do you? how do people think that? You know what I think's done that? Social media has perpetuated that, because that will go viral. People will go, yeah, he told him. It's like, but has that helped? Like, for me, it's just like, as if that fence wasn't there and you were up his face, that kid ain't saying that either. Do you know what I mean? Like, social media is a bit poisonous like that. I thought it was going to be a little bit funny, like someone saying, please do it. And then Matt Judd going, okay. But no, I didn't even go past 7 seconds of a 30-second video, because you know that's going to get even worse and terrible. Chuck, what you saying, bro?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Hey, Terry. Hi, guys. After the last game against Palace, I highlighted the midfield transition issues. And I think today's game, I'll start with what Sam said about Igalo and Make-A-Wish FC. I think even if you had Aguero there in the first half, nothing would have happened. You had Lewandowski, nothing would have happened. The problem we have up front in the final third sometimes is United is like that boxer looking for the killer blow. There are several ways to score a goal. You could cross it, you could shoot from outside the box. But we want this one thing where Martial fizzes into Rashford and he lays it off, and then we do this thing. Mm-hmm. So when you say we're not doing tiki-taka, we actually are trying to do a version of that. The number of times Lingard had Brandon Williams on the overlap, and then he chose to go inside. It's so frustrating. And this is a simple coaching fix. And it makes me wonder, what is Oli actually coaching these boys? We have several chances to cross the ball, several chances to shoot the ball, and then we're looking for one touch. And sadly, I mean, I love Donny. Donny's done well. But it looks like he's already doing that thing where he's looking for the one-touch layoff, when sometimes it's just a simple shot. Yes, just calm down. I see you, KJ. Just calm down. I think sometimes we should just be truly direct and shoot on sight, because the second half was a bit misleading. Yeah, these guys got tired. These guys tried to score and they stretched the game out. And when the game is stretched, Man United is the best team in the league, because then it's end to end, and that's only for you. So I think the first half should give us a better indication of how much progress we've made. I mean, it's a bit sad to say that. But
I get a few things that you said there. All I would say is this: there's certain attributes of football players which are harder to coach than passing and shooting, and that's decision making, that's concentration, bravery is an attribute. Some football players, and Lingard is one of them, there might be the pass for the overlap, but the easier thing to do, where he knows he might not lose possession, is the simple pass on the inside. And those are the elements that Oli cannot coach them, because that's part of your nature as an individual. You know, I used to fight, and I'm telling you, there were some people. I would see it. I'd be watching them. I'd be either coaching them. I'd be in their corner, or you'd be in. And it's like, you could have gone for the round uppercut. It does expose your jaw, but you could have sparked him. But instead, you covered up and you went for the little jab instead. Those guys never became champions. Sorry, bravery to go for it. And when I look at Lingard, that's what I see. It's like, okay, yeah, the ball is the one to go onto the outside, but you've got to use your left foot. And he doesn't. He puts it onto his right and goes to the easy ball on the inside and congest things. That isn't ability. Sometimes it's vision, but I think a lot of the time it's, do you have the guts to go for it? Sometimes when players, you've seen a player go into the box and he should be shooting, but he squares it.
Mesut Ozil, bro.
I think that's a bottle job. I think it's, why aren't you shooting? I'll tell you why. You're passing responsibility.
Firmino.
Other guy shoots.
I got you there, man. I got you there. But I think you should remember Pellegrini's Man City. He drilled it into Jesus Navas. I mean, they had the best wing play with Zabaleta, Navas, and even Kolarov. I think sometimes there is no way Leeds have better players than United, but they're just well drilled. Sometimes it's beyond saying, oh, the players are this and that. If Dan James to Leeds, if that happens, Dan James turns into something else. Now we're like, oh, it's the same player. I mean, don't get me wrong, he isn't that good. But even the worst of players, if it's instilled in their heads, they'll play differently. And I don't think Lingard is that bad a player. I remember doesn't know how to,
Nathan Dyer looked really good at times in a Swansea shirt, but no big club came in for him. Like, there's a difference when you play at that level. You got more space to run into. As an example, David, of course, another rival, one of the last guys we'll have on tonight's show. Give me your overarching thoughts on Manchester United's performance tonight. Do you think it's unfair for some United fans to play it down? Some are just saying, oh, I don't mean anything. Or give me your thoughts.
Your man's B team is dead. It's so bad. Oh my God. I'm looking at Juan Mata thinking, is that the same guy that won champion? wow, it is poor. But apart from that, what you saw is that when you brought on the class players, your system
say it properly.
Say
it properly. When you bring on the what?
When you bring on the better players.
No.
When you bring on the
class players.
When you bring on the
when we bring on
starters.
No, the other one.
He brings with an A, David.
Don't
try that.
Say it, bro. Say it.
I'm not saying it. Get out of it. Leave yourself.
When we bring on the Avengers, go.
When you bring on your starters, suddenly your system looks a lot better. And that's the same thing I had with Chelsea the other day. When you put on the players who actually are meant to be in those positions, the system works and it looks better. So that's what happened. To be fair, again, Luton did come out after when you went 2-0 up, and then it kind of exposed. Then Greenwood got the third goal. So but it was okay.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I'm just encouraged by it, as opposed to, oh my God, we're back, we're amazing. What's interesting, you think about the Leeds are a great example at the moment, right? I guarantee you, play against Leeds and play low block against them as a good team and don't come out, watch them do nothing against you. Leeds, you said about Man United then, when the game gets stretched, that's when Man United look better. Well, when teams play Leeds, everyone opens up against them. Maybe not in the opening minute, but they open up against them. Why? Because they're not as scared of them as they are a big team. And that's why you see so many of these players at these lesser clubs do well. They get a little move to a bigger club. How many actually go on to really kill it? I remember Stuart Downing in his early days at Middlesbrough looking like a baller, goes to a bigger club, and it's like, nah, mate, you ain't ready for this, because teams set up against you differently. And I just think that's, and there's other factors. Well, teams play up. How many times have you guys, as United and Chelsea fans and Arsenal fans, seen an average team come up against your guys and play like they are peak,
especially the keepers?
Terry, I'm stressed about West Brom this weekend. Literally, West Brom, I feel like I'm going to be that team.
As long as you're worried about Kepa, bro.
Overly worried.
He's not in goal. He's not in goal anymore. He's gone. Never again. He's gone. Goodbye.
I'm going to love, and we'll be covering the game in some capacity, the Chelsea game. First shot at Mendy. He makes. I love him to make.
But Terry. Even if he dives, I'll be gassed, because I haven't seen that from my goalkeeper. It's got to that stage. It's so. I'm not getting into it.
It's one of them, man. But no, as I say, tonight, I think good performance. I'm happy with it. I'm really glad Rashford and Greenwood get a little goal under their belts. Nice bit of, especially Rashford's, because it was a good finish. He gets kind of gets
was better, but the way he strikes it between the defender's legs and into the bottom corner is just a beautiful strike. Yeah.
No, the biggest play of the game was Henderson's save. That was massive.
Your question.
Go on, mate.
Henderson or De Gea on
it's going to be De Gea.
De Gea.
Can we take one of your goalkeepers?
Because Henderson did something.
Hey, give us Kante.
That's loud, dude.
Henderson did something in that game which I saw. I'm like, okay, I like what I saw there, and he actually rushed out with the ball. Something you don't see De Gea do. There's a way their player was coming to him, and De Gea normally kind of panics and goes sideways, but Henderson rushed out forward with the ball, and I was like, you know what? I like that. That's something we haven't seen before. So
KJ, I'm with you on that one. There was this ball where he chipped it over the striker to Williams. I'm like, it's just different.
He done some good bits, and what I liked about that save at any level of football, that's a top class save. It was behind him, the way he clawed it out, and everything he had to do. It was very, very good.
To be fair, I think De Gea makes that save too, though. He's a great shot stopper. He's not good on the ball. He's not good with his feet. He wouldn't do it. But he's a great stopper.
It's about
Mason Mount did last year. I'm not sure about that one.
No, but the story isn't about the save for me. It's about the concentration. You do nothing for 80 minutes and then you pull off that save. That's their story.
I agree with that.
Because I remember De Gea making the same save against, I think it was West Ham last season. Not last season, but the season before. He made the same save where it was behind him and he clawed it. Or maybe it was against...
Done it about 4 or 5 times, to be fair, De Gea.
Yeah.
Where you've gone, we've conceded, and he manages to put it out. So that element is... But with Henderson, if he's going to replace De Gea, essentially he's got to make less mistakes. He has to be. I want him to be better on the ball. Because what I mean by replacing De Gea is, and us not buying someone else, he's got to be better on the ball. He's got to make less mistakes, and he's got to be in and around the same ballpark as a shot stopper. If he isn't, then we need to buy someone. Like for me, I don't want to squimp and have a makeshift. And like what we saw tonight look good. Let's see. He's probably going to, as I say, there's so many games coming up: Champions League, Premier League, League Cup. Up between now and Christmas, he's going to get probably a good 4 or 5 more appearances, and we'll see what he's all about. But there we go, boys. I appreciate you all coming on. Thank you, Anton, for making, I think, your debut on the show. Appreciate that. Until next time, everybody, take care. Good night. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.